Hello and welcome back to the Tech Blackboard. I hope you all are doing great and engaging yourself in some self-learning. In this part 25, I've got some of the very latest and new questions. And what are we going to learn today? Well, today I have questions around Azure subscriptions, Azure support plans, virtual machines and spending. Very important topics, so let's get started. So let's begin with question number 461, which is a drag and drop kind of question. Here you can see we are given with some of the Azure services on the left hand side, and then we are given one line definition of all these services on the right hand side. So basically you have to match these Azure services with these one line definitions. Let's read the services. We are given with Azure Functions, Azure App Service, Azure Virtual Machines, and Azure Container Instances. And now let's read the definitions. The first definition says provide operating system virtualization. So which service do you think is matching with this definition? Well, this is undoubtedly the Azure Virtual Machines. Coming to the second definition, it says provide portable environment for virtualized application. And this one, my friends, is Azure Container Instances. Moving to the third one, it says used to build and deploy and scale web apps, and this could be none other than Azure App Service. And the last one says provide a platform for serverless code, and this would be most surely Azure Functions. And now we have a very interesting question. Question number 462. It says that how should you calculate the monthly uptime percentage? To answer, select the appropriate option in the answer area. Here you can see that we are given with these three drop-down boxes, and within the two drop-down boxes, we also have one mathematical operation. So let's start with the first box. The first option given here is downtime in minutes. Then we are given with maximum available minutes, and then we are given with maximum available minute minus downtime in minutes. And in the second box, we are given with the options like 60, 1440, maximum available minutes. And lastly, we have the third box, which is given with 100, 1440, and then the last one is 99.99. So basically, you have to calculate the monthly uptime percentage, and you have to pick the right options from each drop-down menu. And please be aware that you're choosing the option based on the mathematical operation given here. So the correct option that we pick from the first drop-down menu is the option C, maximum available minutes minus downtime in minutes. And then we have this box here, and from this box, we're selecting option C, maximum available minutes. And lastly, we have this box, and from here, we are selecting the correct answer as option A, 100. So what does our formula becomes? Our formula becomes maximum available time minus downtime in minutes divided by maximum available minutes and multiplied by 100, because of course we are calculating percentage. And now we are on the Microsoft documentation that says service level agreements for the online services. So here you can see that we are given with a lot of documentation. Let's pick the very latest one. So when you click on this, a Word file will be downloaded. Open this Word file. And now in this Word file, there is a lot of information given. You can see it's lately updated on April 1st, 2023. You have to scroll down a little bit and you will reach to a section. Let me go through very quickly. Okay, so now I have reached to the correct section. It says monthly uptime percentage. The monthly uptime percentage for a given active tenant in a calendar month is calculated using the following formula. Here you can see that we have user minutes minus downtime divided by user minutes multiplied by 100. So this is the formula that we got from the Microsoft documentation. The formula is exactly the same, although the terms used are little different. And this is also a learning for you that in case Microsoft is using these terms here, then also the formula remains the same. So the user minutes basically is maximum available times. The downtime, this corresponds to downtime in minutes. And then it says divided by user minutes, which is this one here, maximum available minutes multiplied by 100, which is the third option that we pick in the third drop-down box. So please pay attention. Either the Microsoft in AZ-900 exam can give you the option like this, which I presented in the original question, or it can also present options like this. So in any case, now you know the formula, so the options do not matter. And before moving ahead, all the Azure learners who have joined the Tech Blackboard family for the first time today, first of all, thank you for joining us, and I would like to mention that we have already covered 460 questions on very important Microsoft AZ-900 exam. All these questions are very latest and you will learn tons of Azure concepts, get the Microsoft documentation, exam tips, and also free PDF files that will help you study in the offline mode. These PDF files will contain all the questions with the answers that we are discussing in all these videos. So while watching the video, if you like our content, please press the like button and also do subscribe to the channel as we bring a lot of videos on cloud certifications. Now let's move on to the next question. Question number 463. It says that your company has an Azure subscription that contains the following unused resources and you want to reduce the Azure cost for the company. So what are the unused resources? Well, we have 20 user accounts in Azure Active Directory. Then we have 5 groups in Azure AD, 10 public IP addresses, and we also have 10 network interfaces. So as a solution, in order to reduce the cost, you plan to remove the unused groups. Does this meet the goal? Yes or no? And this solution, my friends, is not the correct one. That's why we have picked no. And why it is so? Because you are anyways not charged for Azure Active Directory groups. Therefore, deleting the unused groups will not reduce your Azure cost. Let's take few more similar questions. Here comes question number 464, exactly the same question, but this time the solution is that you remove the network interfaces. So does this meet the goal of you reducing the Azure cost? Yes or no? And this time, once again, this is an incorrect solution because as we saw in the previous question as well, you are not charged for the unused network interfaces. That's why deleting the unused network interfaces will also not reduce your Azure cost. And now we have third similar question. You can see the question exactly once again the same. However, this time we are removing the unused public IP addresses. Does this meet the goal of reducing the cost? Yes or no? And this time, my friends, the correct answer is yes, because for public IP addresses, you are always charged. That's why in case you are deleting the unused public addresses, this will certainly reduce your overall Azure cost. And similarly, my friends, similar to this pattern, there can be questions on other Azure resources. So try and go to the Microsoft documentation to get a hand on this. Any resource for which you are not able to figure out whether deleting the resource will reduce the cost or not, let me know in the comment section. I will help you there. And please stick around in this video because I'm going to take more questions on costing. So still a lot of learning is coming up. And now we have question number 466. It says that this question requires you to evaluate the underlying text to determine if it's correct. Here it's a statement given which says that you can create an Azure support request from support.microsoft.com. So basically you have to review this underlying text, and if this underlying text makes the overall statement correct, in that case you have to choose the no change needed, the very first option given here. Otherwise, you have to make this statement correct and replace this underlying text with the other 3 options. The other 3 options, which include the Azure portal, the Knowledge Center, and lastly we have the Security and the Compliance Admin Center. And the correct answer for this question is option B, the Azure portal. So the correct statement becomes that you can create Azure support requests from the Azure portal. And exactly where in the Azure portal? Well, you can create Azure support requests from the help and support blade in the Azure portal or from the context menu of an Azure resources in the support plus troubleshooting section. And now we have question number 467. It says that in which Azure support plan can you open a new support request? Your options are Premier and Professional Direct only. The option B is Premier, Professional Direct and Standard only. Thirdly, we have Premier, Professional Direct, Standard and Developer only. And lastly, we have Premier, Professional Direct, Standard, Developer and Basic. And the correct answer for this question is option D, Premier, Professional Direct, Standard, Developer and Basic. So this is the documentation where you can compare all the support plans. You can see that we have Basic, we have Developer, Standard and Professional Direct. On the left hand side of this table, you're given with all the features. So you can see whether a feature is available in some particular support plan or not. And before leaving this documentation, I want your attention that there are only only 4 support plans given in the Microsoft documentation, which are basic, developer, standard, and then we have professional direct. And this means that currently there is no premier plan. So for your knowledge, there was a premier plan earlier, but now it has been discarded. But in the question, if it may appear, then please do not get confused. You know what is the correct answer to choose? Ideally, Microsoft should not include Premier in their question, but then you never know. So the correct answer, you know, in case Premier is given, it's okay. Otherwise, the correct answer for this question should be Professional Direct, Standard, Developer, and Basic. And now comes question number 468. It says that this question requires you to evaluate the underlined text to determine if it's correct. This is similar to the question we saw earlier, and the statement says that a support plan solution that gives you the best practice information, health status and notification, and 24/7 access to the billing information at the lowest cost possible is standard support plan. So you have to tell whether standard support plans is exactly the plan which fits this statement. Otherwise, you have to replace standard support plan with developer, basic, or premier. And the correct answer for this question is option C, basic. And please remember that standard support plan is also fitting this business requirement, but because we are given with lowest possible cost, that's why basic is a better answer. So once again, I'm on the same documentation. I just want to show you how to validate or work on these kind of questions. The first requirement in the question was best practice information. Here you can see that we are given in this section here, which says Azure Advisor, your free personalized guide to Azure best practices. You can see there is a tick mark, which means that this is available in the basic support plan. The second requirement was health status and notification. Here you can see that we are given with this section here, which says Azure health status and notification. Once again, this is tick marked in basic support plan. Thirdly, we were given with 24/7 access to the billing information, and this one is given here, which says 24/7 self-help resources, including Microsoft Learn, Azure Portal, how-to videos, documentation, and community support. And the last but most important requirement was lowest possible cost, and that section is given here, which says price. And here you can see that this is included for all Azure customers, but for the developer or the standard, we have to pay some cost. That's why basic is the most cost-effective support plan that fits this business requirement. And here is the next question, question number 469. It says that by creating additional resource groups in an Azure subscription, additional costs are incurred. Yes or no? And the correct answer is no. And the reason is that resource groups are logical containers for Azure resources, and you do not have to pay for resource groups. Moving on, question number 470 says that by copying several gigabytes of data from an on-premises network over a VPN, additional data transfer costs are incurred. Yes or no? And this one, my friends, is an incorrect statement. That's why no. And the reason is, my friends, that data ingress over a VPN is the data coming into Azure over the VPN, and you are not charged for the data transfer cost for data ingress or the coming in data to Azure. Now you may be wondering, are you charged for the outgoing data? Let's find out. Question number 471 says that by copying several GB of data from Azure to an on-premises network over the VPN, additional data transfer costs are incurred. Yes or no? And this one, my friends, is a correct statement. That's why yes. So once again, data egress, which is the opposite of data ingress, over a VPN is data outgoing of the Azure over the VPN, and you are definitely charged for data egress. So I hope you understood. Let's summarize. The ingress data or incoming data to Azure on the VPN is not charged. However, the outgoing data or the data egress is charged when the data is going out from Azure over the VPN. And now comes question number 472 that says that with Azure reservation, you pay less for the virtual machines than pay as you go pricing. Yes or no? And the correct answer is yes. And the reason is a reservation is where you commit to pay for a resources, for example, a virtual machine for 1 or 3 years. This gives you discounted price on the resource for a reservation period. Simply putting it, my friends, that you are committing Microsoft Azure that we are reserving a particular resource like virtual machine for next 1 or 3 years. And for that commitment, Microsoft gives you a huge discount. Moving on with question number 473, it says two Azure virtual machines that use B2S size have same monthly cost. Yes or no? And the correct answer is no. The reason is that there are other factors that influence the cost of virtual machines, such as virtual hard disk attached to the virtual machines. So you could have multiple virtual machines with same size, B2S in this case, but with different virtual hard disk configuration. Also, very importantly, my friends, please remember that region also have a cost impact. So even if you have exactly the same virtual machine, the same configuration, but in two Azure regions, the cost can differ. And that's why no is the correct answer. Moving on with the next question, question number 474, it says that when an Azure virtual machine is stopped, you continue to pay storage cost for the virtual machine. Yes or no? And the correct answer is yes. And this is a very important Microsoft Azure concept. A lot of people end up paying huge costs because of ignorance of this fact. So let me tell you. See, when the virtual machine is stopped and unloaded or dismounted or deallocated, whatever the word may be given, in this case, you are not charged anything. But on the other hand, if the virtual machine, even if stopped, but it is still loaded or mounted or allocated, you are still charged for the storage cost for the virtual machine. So always remember, my friends, that a virtual machine is always mounted on a physical server in Azure, and you are charged for the virtual machine itself as well as the storage cost. So to ensure that you are not paying any cost, you have to make sure that the virtual machine is stopped. Also, it is unloaded, dismounted or deallocated. Only then you are sure that there is no future cost. I hope this makes it clear, a very important concept. Once again, I'm telling you, please remember this concept, my friend. Whenever you're practicing something on Microsoft Azure, once you are done, please remove all the resources, or as a best practice, whenever you're done with your work, always delete the resource group, and this will make sure all the resources under that resource group are also deleted, and you are safe from spending any unnecessary money. And with that cost saving tip, let's move on to the next question. Question number 475 says that a user who is assigned the owner role can transfer ownership of an Azure subscription. Yes or no? And the correct answer is no. And why so? Because you need to be administrator of the billing account that has subscription to be able to transfer the subscription. And you can be billing administrator or global administrator. A subscription owner can change all the resources and the permissions within the subscription, but cannot transfer ownership of the subscription. That's why no is the correct answer. And now comes question number 476 that says that you can convert the Azure subscription of your company from a free trial to pay as you go. Yes or no? And the correct answer most surely is yes. Because of course you can convert the free trial subscription to pay as you go, and not only for your company, in case you are also using it for the personal purposes, then also once your free trial is consumed over, then you can convert it to pay as you go. Coming to the next question, question number 471, it says that Azure spending limit is fixed and cannot be increased or decreased. Yes or no? And the correct answer is yes. So always remember, my friends, that you can remove the spending limit, but you cannot increase or decrease it. Let's understand this further with the Microsoft documentation, as a lot of people get confused in this and pick the wrong answer. And this is the Microsoft documentation on Azure spending limit. Here you can read, it says the spending limit in Azure prevents spending over your credit amount. All the new customers who sign up the Azure free account or subscription types that include credits over multiple months have spending limit turned on by default. The spending limit is equal to the amount of credit, and you cannot change the amount of spending limit. Please pay attention. You cannot change the amount of spending limit. And further it says, for example, if you signed up for Microsoft Azure free account, your spending limit is $200 and you cannot change it to $500. However, you can remove the spending limit. So either you have no limit or you have a limit equal to the amount of the credit. This prevents you from most kind of spendings. So please read that documentation, my friends. The link is right there in the description box, because this is one question I've seen a lot of people making mistakes. Always remember, you can remove the spending limit, but you cannot increase or decrease it. And with that, let's move on to the next question. Question number 478 says that if Microsoft plans to end the support for an Azure service that does not have a successor service, Microsoft will provide notification at least 6 months before. Yes or no? And the correct answer is no. And this is because in case Microsoft plans to end the support for an Azure service that does not have a successor service, in that case, Microsoft will always provide a notification of at least 12 months. Now let's move on to the next question. Question number 479 says that which Azure service can you use for quickly sending millions of notifications to iOS, Android, Windows, Kindle devices working with APN, which is Apple Push Notification Service, GCM, which is Google Cloud Messaging, and lastly WNS, which is Windows Push Notification Service, and more. Your options are IoT Hub, Azure Notification Hubs, Azure Machine Learning, and lastly Azure Monitor. And the correct answer for this question is option B, Azure Notification Hubs. So my friends, Azure Notification Hubs is a massively scalable mobile push notification engine for quickly sending millions of notifications to iOS, Android, Windows, Kindle devices which are working with APN, GCM or WNS and more. So that's why option B is the correct answer. And now we have question number 480 that says that you need to ensure that when Azure Active Directory users connect to the Azure AD from internet by using anonymous IP address, the users are prompted automatically to change their passwords. Which Azure service should you use? Your options are Azure AD Connect Health. The option B is Azure AD Privileged Identity Management. Thirdly, we have Azure Advanced Threat Protection. And lastly, Azure AD Identity Protection. And the correct answer for this question is option D, Azure AD Identity Protection. And friends, if you really want to learn more on Azure Identity Protection, this is the Microsoft documentation. I've shared the link for this documentation and all the other documentation in the description box, so you can read whenever your time permits. And that was all my friends. If you gained some value from this video, please like our videos as this makes the YouTube algorithm happy and also help us grow and keep the content free. And if you joined the Tech Blackboard family for the first time today, then please do subscribe to the channel and also select that all option to get the timely notifications of all our upcoming videos. And please do share our videos on your social media platforms like LinkedIn, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, anything. And our social media platform handles are also appearing on your screen. That was all. Thanks for joining in. I will see you in the next video. Till then, stay fit, keep learning, and thanks for watching. If this video has added any value in your learning, a like and subscribe is highly appreciated. Share this video in your family and friends to spread and expand their learning. Your comments and feedback give me a chance to interact with you, and I look forward for them. We will meet again in our next video. Till then, stay fit, keep learning, and thanks for watching.